Oh, you still needs more donations. It is not some cheap to fish. Gotta get someone up there with a big lift. Okay, yeah, that sounds expensive. It's not Zen. I need to stop doing zone. So we're gonna briefly talk about last week. So the week started off with the Super Bowl championship Eagles hosting Dallas. And the highlight of the game, in my opinion, is Dak getting spat on by Jalen Carter and him getting kicked out of the game. I watched this game. Both offenses played well in the first half. Both defenses played well in the second half. Eagles squeaked out a win, but didn't cover the spread. Do you have anything to add to this game? I think the offense will be fine, but so the second game was in Brazil, and it was between the Super Bowl loser Chiefs and the LA Chargers. I actually remember they're in LA this week and not in San Diego still. And Justin Herbert looked good. Oh, and in the first game, I would say between the Cowboys and Eagles, there was lots of penalties. In the second game that was in Brazil, Justin Herbert looked good. He did really well on my fantasy team. The refs actually threw some flags on the Chiefs. Maybe in another country they actually throw flags in the Chiefs, but not in the U.S. But the Chargers eked out a win. You have anything to add? Mahomes still had quite a few fantasy points because he ran for a bunch of yards and ran for a touchdown. Last year he didn't get the most points in the world, but he won games. The next game was another close game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. Both quarterbacks played pretty good, but Baker Mayfield let it drive to get put the Buccaneers up by 3. And then Michael Penix let it drive down the field, but Younghoe Koo missed a field goal. I actually watched the end of that game. Good game. And this, yeah, I think he's probably happy he's out of the Browns, to be honest. The next game was between just mentioning the Browns. The next game was the in the the Ohio showdown between the Browns and the Bengals, and both teams did not score a lot of points. Flacco threw some interceptions. Hey, Jen, and that has to be a troll account. But this the cute Burrow barely got a win against the Browns. I figured that game was gonna be close. The Bengals, did the Browns miss a kick too? Hung deep. So let's see if the kicker didn't Hopkins miss a field goal? I thought he missed a field goal too. So McPherson made his field goals. McPherson's a pretty good kicker, actually. Oh yeah, so they did miss a field goal. The Browns did miss a field goal too. Did the Browns even score any touchdowns? Yeah, they did score a touchdown. Oh, and they must have scored. They must have went for two on a touchdown and not got it. And the next game was between the Dolphins and the Colts, and Danny Dimes looked like an actual TV. Hawk Tua did not look like an actual QB. I don't know what. Maybe I'm the game this week is a they always beat the team when they go to Miami, even when they had Tom Brady. But I'm definitely not picking the Dolphins this week. So I said I wasn't going to, but talk about that later. New England always struggles in Miami, though. But but a lot of teams struggle to play in Miami this time of year because it's hot and humid as can be. Hey, KS Boy 223. I've never watched your channel, so I don't even know what you post videos on. I don't like to give people random shout outs, but I don't know. I did a bunch of sub for sub stuff when they wanted you to have 1,000 subscribers to be monetized and so much watch time. But most of those people, it kind of just artificially inflated a whole bunch of channels to have like 1 to 2,000 subs. And then you post a video and you get 30 views on it. You don't have many active subscribers. So, and the next game was between two kitty teams, the Panthers and the Jaguars. I picked we both picked the Jaguars to win and the Jaguars won. Bryce Young struggled again. I don't know if Bryce Young's going to be a good QB or not. He's definitely not at the best franchise to play for. But and the next game was between the Raiders and Patriots, and the Raiders won by 7 in New England. I didn't watch the game or really look at the stats, so I don't really know what happened. I've been busy with work and I've been fishing and hunting in my spare time, so I haven't deeply looked into all these games. Who even has them on our fantasy team? They haven't. How many fantasy points did he have? No, Henry had a lot. That game, there wasn't much offense in that game. There wasn't much defense in that. There wasn't much defense in that. Ashton Genty only had 2 yards per carry, but he scored a touchdown. How Geno Smith do? Geno Smith played like a Raiders quarterback. He threw for 362 yards and only scored 20 points. That's just like what? That's just how Derek Carr was. Wow. Yeah. And the next game was between the Cardinals and Saints, and Kyler Murray stopped playing video games enough to beat the Saints. I kind of figured that. I think the Saints are probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league this year, but Packers are 1-0. We haven't got to that. We haven't got to that game yet. So the next game was Aaron two quarterbacks facing their previous team, the Steelers versus the Jets. Boswell kicked a really line field goal to win the game. The Steelers defense played worse than we expected. The Jets defense played worse than you'd expect. I think Justin Fields probably scored the most points he's ever scored as a starting QB. I don't know if he ever scored 32 points on the Bears. So somehow he scored points against the Steelers, who we think would have a good defense, but their defense definitely was not good. Aaron Rodgers threw for 4 TDs, just like old A-Rod. So number 8 is gonna maybe good this year. Who knows? The Jets are a bad team last year, so who knows how good they actually are. The Jets play the Bills. No, the Steelers play the Seahawks. That'll probably be a close one. Yeah, yeah, I know what team I'm definitely picking in that game. No, I would not do that. To be honest, I think the Ravens defense is letting their cute Lamar down because Lamar plays really well and then they blow leads or they lose games where they're up by a bunch and then the other team comes back. Yeah. And the next game was between the Giants and Commanders. The Commanders won. Russ wasn't cooking. Did Russ even score a touchdown? Yeah, I don't know. He didn't do very good. I don't think the so Russell Wilson didn't even complete half his passes and only threw for 168 yards. Cam Scatterboo wasn't very good. How Cam Scatterboo only get 2 carries? Was he hurt or something? So, so what game are we talking about next? So the Titans traveled to Denver. Both Cam Ward struggled, which is not surprising. He got sacked a bunch. The Bo Nix didn't play all that great either, but the Broncos ended up winning. And the next game, I'm really unhappy about the one. I'm really unhappy about the one player on this one team who's already hurt, which probably isn't surprising. But it was between the 49ers and Seahawks. The 49ers barely won. We split on who picked it, and Justin was right. But I have Kittle on my fantasy team, and they say he's out 3 to 5 weeks already, and Brock Purdy is supposedly questionable for this week. Really? I haven't looked at the injury updates. I probably should have before we did this. I don't know. The thing with the 49ers is they have like the Packers might be in the same situation and actually shoulder toe. No, they just made another goofy ass. They paid they just paid someone else some contract, which is way more than they're worth, and they're really injury prone. We'll talk about that in a minute. So shoulder, so Purdy has a shoulder and toe injury. They're doing a CT scan on Dwan Jennings. So they have a wide receiver and tight end injury. Granted, he's like a wide receiver 2 or 3, but the 49ers are already dealing with injury issues. And the 49ers issue is they have some stud players and they paid their stud players a lot of money, but they don't have good depth on their team. And when everyone's healthy, they make it to the Super Bowl. But then when they're not healthy, they're not that good. So the next game between the Lions and Packers, I did watch some of this game / listen to it. The Lions' O-line struggled, and I struggled to move the ball. It's probably, I don't know whether they have new coaches or the Packers' defense is better or they have 3 new O-linemen out there. Here's that. Here's that. And the Lions couldn't run the ball either, which the Lions not being able to run the ball, I think, is more of an O-line thing than anything because they have good running backs. And I pay who? Like 45. Didn't they give him like a 4-year, 160 or $70 million contract? He might be in more this week. We'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow on Thursday. The Packers just gave Christian Watson up to a 1-year, like $13.5 million deal, and he's on the player unable to perform list. I literally think they should have waited to the end and just gave him like a vet min or like a $5 million or $8 million contract with mostly incentives. But that's my opinion. They have a young team though. They have a bunch of young players, so they could be good if they have one for a couple years before they need to pay everyone. So the next game is between the Texans and the Rams. The Rams won, low scoring game. I don't really look at stats of this. We can look at the stats quick. Why did you watch any of that? You picked the Rams to win. I picked the Texans to win. Stafford actually did it. Both Stafford won 21 for 29 for 245 and a touchdown. You scored more than 14 points, but and the Texans didn't even score a touchdown. Who knows how good CJ Stroud was? He had a down year last year, but they were in an easy division, but we'll find out. So you don't think he's going to be good? So the next game was the shootout of the week, the Ravens versus the Bills. The Ravens somehow blew like a 14 or 15 point lead with 8 minutes left. Jair Alexander, their big signing from the Packers, which I'm glad they got rid of. They had a few bad coverages, I hear. So I don't, but Josh Allen played some magic and won. I literally, like I was saying earlier, I think the Ravens defense might let Lamar Jackson down. I still think the Ravens are going to be a good team, but they've had this happen again where they've been up by quite a bit and should win the game, but then they lose it. He was MVP last year, and Lamar Jackson was the MVP the year before. I do too, but they just haven't. They haven't been quite good enough. So, in the top two in the AFC, Chiefs, Chiefs might beat them in the playoffs. Who knows? It's week one. Mahomes. I think Mahomes will still be good. I don't. Who knows? They have Xavier Worthy, and don't they have someone else? Is he? Who was the one that got in the? Who was the one who got in a bunch of trouble? Was that Xavier Worthy? In the reckless driving accident? No, I think it might have been someone else, but he has a shoulder injury, so he might be out for a while. I do not think I'm going to be picking the other team in the Super Bowl rematch. But now the heartbreak in Chi-Town game between the Vikings and Bears. So Caleb Williams moved the ball well in the first half, but only scored 10 points. Somehow the Vikings scored 6 points in the first half, but JJ McCarthy looked terrible, but the refs helped him with a PI call. And that was one of the drives they got 3 points in. And then towards the end of the third quarter, JJ McCarthy started to play football and move the ball, and then he scored 3 touchdowns. He threw for 2 of them and ran for 1. And somehow the Bears did not move the ball in the second half very much. I heard rumors that he has the same person do his nails as Angel Reese. Did DJ Moore? Did DJ Moore get a concussion or what was his injury? Because I know he got let out. No. Yeah, I know, but I think he got a concussion. I don't know. Is he questionable this week or not? You think you like Bajent? You like Bajent though. Yeah, so they don't think Moore's hurt that bad, so it's probably just a light concussion. Neither of us are that gay. But I almost wonder if it was just because it was their coach's first game and Kevin O'Connell made adjustments at halftime based on what he saw and Ben Johnson didn't. I don't know. It was Ben Johnson's first game coach. It was Ben Johnson's first game coaching. We'll find out how he is against his former team this week. So he could be a good coach, and Cale Williams could be fine. I think that might have been part of the issue is just the Vikings have an experienced coach and they made changes at halftime and that they were able to beat the Bears. But who knows? It's week 1. Okay, so now now we're gonna start picking week 2. We talked for 25 minutes about week 1. So the first game, the Washington Commanders head to Lambeau Field to face the Green Bay Packers. And I think I know who you're picking. Vegas thinks that the Packers are going to win. I think the Packers defense will struggle, may not be as good against a more athletic quarterback than Jared Goff with new linemen. Yeah, I'm going to take the Commanders too, although I hope they don't win. Oh my. Half these people that show into these just ignore that person and just keep talking. Production for Cardinals. So I don't know. We'll see how the Packers look against the Commanders. We'll see if their pass rush is actually better or not. Last year, their pass rush I didn't think was all that great, although their defense was ranked 12. But I watched when they played good. The Vikings and Lions, they did not look good. So we'll find out if their pass rush is for real or if they just played Detroit with new coaches and an inexperienced O-line. He did. I think he might have got hurt. Neither of the running backs were very effective. I'm not sure. I should have the Packers schedule on my. I need a Packers schedule magnet on my. Let's see. November 23rd at Lambeau and says date TBD. So that must be a flex game later in the season. Yeah, January 4th. So that must be a flex game. Later in the season. So they play them towards the end of the season. It'll be interesting to see how both teams look by then. So the next game, the Chicago Bears head to the Motor City to face the Detroit Lions. I am picking the Lions. I think the Lions are going to bounce back and Bears. You think Ben Johnson is going to beat his old team? This game, I think we're both going to pick the same team. Although there's the one game where Zach Wilson upset this team in New Jersey, but the Buffalo Bills head to New Jersey to face the New York Jets. Bills. Yeah, I'm curious how he'll do against a better team. There, the Bills defense played horrible against the Ravens, but And the Ravens probably have the second or third best offense in the league. Or at least based on last year, they do. So the next game, the Cleveland Browns head to Baltimore to face the Ravens. This is going to be. I think we're picking the same team. Joe Flacco, the Ravens. Who are you taking? Yeah. So you're picking the Ravens too. I'm just wondering how many bad performances it is by Flacco until one of the rookie quarterbacks go start. Shadur, or who's the other one they took? They took the one from Oregon, right? Dylan Gabriel. Their coach has to know that both Gabriel and Shadur have a long way to go, or else they would not be starting Joe Flacco because Joe Flacco's definitely not a long term answer. Granted, he'll throw for some yards, he'll throw for some touchdowns, and he'll throw for some interceptions, but he's definitely not past his prime. He's probably happy to still be playing football rather than sitting on the couch because I know he's kind of went around to a lot of teams. The next game is a kitty battle. The Jacksonville Jaguars head to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. I'm going to pick the Bengals. Last year, the start of the season, they were not good to me picking them because they struggled at the start of last season. I don't know how good Jacksonville was. They played the Panthers week one, and I think the Panthers are one of the five worst teams in the NFL. So, granted, the Bengals barely beat the Browns, who are also a bad team. The next game, a team from New Jersey heads to Jerry World to face the Dallas Cowboys. As much as I want the Cowboys to lose, because I always want the Cowboys to lose, I'm going to pick the. I think Dak will move the ball and score some points. Russell Wilson struggled in his first week with the Giants. I think I think that Dak will score. I think Dak will score. I think the Cowboys Dak will score 3 or 4 touchdowns. And I don't know if Russell Wilson can score that much. Because I think the Cowboys offense is fine. They're, who? Russell Wilson? So you're taking the Cowboys too then? You don't seem very enthusiastic about that pick, but you don't like the Cowboys either. We talked about this game earlier. We'll probably both be wrong on this one because the Patriots always lose one of their 2 games to the Dolphins, but the Patriots head up from New England down to Miami to face the Dolphins. What? In Miami. I yeah. I don't I'm not confident in this pick at all, but I'm gonna pick the Patriots because the Dolphins looked horrible last week. The Dolphins should have won last week. I don't know what was wrong with them. This game, I feel really uncomfortable with either pick just because the one team that's injury prone is already dealing with injuries, and I'm going to have to play a really crappy tight end on my fantasy team. Who? I'll, I'll tell you what tight end I have. I think he might be questionable. I think he's on the Broncos. It- oh, I only think I have two. I have Evan Ingram. He's questionable though. I just pick up a tight end who is even available. Mm, how do you put a player on IR? How do you add a player to IR? It's like, yeah, I'm not going to drop Kittle, but when you click move, it just says, "Oh, it's not letting me." Oh, so what tight ends are available? Even let me see. Zach Zach Ertz, Johnu Smith. Maybe I'll add Zach Ertz or Kate Otten or someone. That'll work. Tampa. Yeah, I'll pick up one of them. So 49ers head to New Orleans, sent from to New Orleans. Who are you picking? I think I'll pick the Saints too. Do not feel if Purdy's out, the 49ers are going to be horrendous. Let's see. Let me see who their backup is. They had a they probably have a new backup this year because they had that one person from Iowa for a while and they had someone else. Mac Mac Jones. Mac Jones could actually beat the Saints. I'm going to take the 49ers then. Oh, sounds good. The next game, Seattle flies to Pittsburgh to the Steel City to face the Aaron Rodgers led Steelers. I am picking the Steelers, although I am not confident in that pick. Yeah. Yeah. You picking you picking Sam Darnold then? Or you at the end of the season? The next game is the LA Rams head to Tennessee to face the Titans. I'm picking the Rams, although who knows? Cam Ward. No, they lost like 20-12 to the Broncos. So you're taking the Rams too. The next game is the Bryce Young led Panthers head to Arizona to face the Kyler Murray led Cardinals. I'm picking the Cardinals. Although I don't think the Cardinals are going to be all that great. Yeah. The next game is a horse battle. The Denver Broncos head to Indianapolis to face the Indianapolis Colts, led by Danny Dimes. The Colts. Jonathan Taylor's good. Yeah, I'm picking the Broncos. He was more overpaid than Jordan Love. He was more overpaid than Jordan Love. Literally, they should have franchise tagged Daniel Jones and then paid Saquon Barkley rather than have a falling out with Saquon Barkley. But they didn't. That's a giant sense. That's a giant sense they lost. Who was their Super Bowl winning coach? Tom Coughlin. We haven't got to the Eagles. No, the Eagles is actually the next game. So the Philadelphia Eagles head to Kansas City to face the Chiefs. I do not I do not feel confident in this pick, but I'm going to pick the Eagles. Their defense didn't look great in the first half, but they look good in the second half. But the Chiefs defense didn't look all that great, and they had a lot of false start penalties on the Chiefs O line. So I don't know. The next game is between the Atlanta Falcons head to the Twin Cities to face the Minneapolis Vikings. Pen- Penix actually looked pretty good this last week. I do not know if JJ McCarthy is going to look good this week or not, but if the Falcons coach can figure out how to use their weapons, they can be a good team, but they really haven't, although they played Tampa Bay. What? I'm going to go with the Vikings. This game, Mayfield heads to Houston to face the Houston Tech CJ Stroud led Texans. The Texans did not look good this last week. The Texans offense did not look good, very good last week. I think the Texans are going to have to score a lot more than 9 points to beat the Buccaneers. So I'm going to pick the Buccaneers. We'll probably be on the same team in this game, too. The next game is the Los Angeles Chargers. I didn't say San Diego again, which is a good thing. They head to Las Vegas to face the Raiders. And I'll go with the Chargers. I was surprised that who's the coach on the I should know the coach on the why am I blanking his name right now? The coach of the Chargers. I'm surprised Harbaugh was as aggressive as he was against the Chiefs. He was actually going for it on fourth down and being pretty aggressive with his play calling, trying to win. Like he wasn't being he's usually kind of a more conservative run first coach, but he was making he was making some pretty aggressive calls against the Chiefs. I think he knew that he needed to get first downs because Mahomes can do magic when he gets the ball in his hands. So last week Justin went 11-5 and I went 10-6, which to be honest is pretty good for the first week because first week football is sloppy and you really don't know how good or bad teams are. And I would have been 11-5. It wasn't the refs. The Bears didn't play good in the second half, other than the pick six. I listened to most of it on the radio. I didn't watch it on TV. I kind of like as much as I hate the Vikings, I kind of like their announcer because he just sounds like a passionate fan. So when the Vikings are fucking up, he's what? He's entertaining as heck and just sounds like a fan watching the game from his couch rather than a just dry announcer. I don't know. Yeah, one game he was wearing the same sunglasses. The one preseason games he was wearing the same sunglasses as Justin Jefferson. But yeah, I should be drinking water instead of a mixed drink. I haven't even finished half a mixed drink while I've been yapping. Who even makes this South Dakota Walleye blended rye whiskey? Black Fork Spirits, Brant, South Dakota. So is anyone even watching? I don't think anyone's watching this. Schwarber got to 50 homers. I think the Brewers are done. What? Kyle Schwarber. Is he I think he might be at the end of his contract. No, the Phillies. He doesn't even bat for a high average, but when he hits the ball, it goes out of the park like half the time. Like him or Cal Raleigh or Aaron Judge or Shohei, you know how many down the middle pitches they get though? Like people are just gonna pitch like breaking balls or sliders or things that go down or stuff really high so you pop out or ground strike out. A fan? Who? Um, no, I'm straight. I just haven't had a girlfriend in a really long time. Yeah, and now I've been enjoying my freedoms. I think I need to do all I know is I think that one time I got a date while fishing is probably gonna be the only time I'll get a date while fishing. That was an interesting person. She was a guard in the jail, and then she, like, hurt herself really bad, so then she was doing a home health care business. When I was in Nebraska, a year and a half, it's when I don't know, I kinda stopped seeing that Riley chick that definitely was not marryable. 'Cause you've had your memory's not the goodest best. And then but no, that Riley girl was kind of annoying, and she was annoying, and she was really bad with her money, and she would have had to declare bankruptcy if it wasn't for her dad bailing her out. No, we're done picking. That's the one you stay away from. We're done picking games. We'll see what happens. There are any good college games this week? I know Wisconsin heads to what what town is Alabama is, and I should know what town they're in. No, I don't think they're in that. Old Tide. And the Tide are gonna roll against them most likely. They play at Bryant Tuscaloosa. So what? They're in the top five most hated college football teams, just like Notre Dame. Ohio, Texas. People really hate Ohio State. What? Dion heads to Houston. Houston's favored. I don't think the Buffaloes are as good this year without Shadur. How in the heck? How in the heck are people paying $190 to see Oregon play Northwestern? Are they playing in some little tiny stadium or something? Or yeah, no, they play at Northwestern Medicine Field in Evanston, Illinois. You know that the Packers tick You know, the Packers tickets and the Lions tickets were like some of the most expensive tickets this week for NFL. This week, I heard some Packers fans say it was cheaper to fly to Cleveland and get tickets to watch the Packers play the Browns than it was to go to Lambeau to watch them play. So Wisconsin plays Alabama, Central Michigan plays Michigan. I wish, I kind of wish that the NCAA would just do some random draw where like the Big Ten played SEC in one of their non-conference, then they played ACC, and then they played Big 12 in one of their non-conference. They did that for those four major conferences. Oh, I'll see when they go on sale. So are there any, let me see if there's any good games that are going on. Georgia at Tennessee. Is Penn State really number two, or are they just getting overrated? We'll see if they can actually stay number two and beat Ohio State and Oregon. UTEP plays at, oh, South Florida plays at Miami. They're both ranked. Ohio plays Ohio State. They beat Montana State last weekend. Montana State was one of the best state. They played Drake. That's my win. Florida plays at LSU. Holy crap! People playing are paying a fortune to see A&M play at Notre Dame. 191 a ticket. That should be a good game though. So this is that I'm trying this walleye whiskey. Definitely taste, maybe it tastes more like a bourbon whiskey or stronger flavor than the whiskey I usually drink. This definitely is not mellow. Yeah, you can definitely taste more of a bolder flavor to it. I got some Windsor Reserve too. I still need to pick plums to make wild plum wine. No, it's you want make Goody brandy, not whiskey. No, I'm not. There's not any more really exciting games this week, other than Notre Dame and A&M is probably the biggest game. They play at 6:30 in Notre Dame. Yeah, that Windsor Reserve definitely has much less of a bite to it. Too bold of a flavor. You need to see what I picked today. You need to post it on homesteading for singles. The carrot. Look at this nice carrot I grew. It's because there's some funky colored mix. I was mad that I broke this one off. and some of them are red. I think something was starting to eat these because a bunch of them have bite marks on them, or gophers. I think it might be open. I haven't looked, but you can see like there's bite marks in this one, and a lot of bite marks in this one. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I grew a nice looking carrot. I wonder if there's the root knot nematodes that are causing this. Just spraying nematicide on it. Actually, don't. 99% of the nematodes are good. Just the root knot and soybean cyst nematodes are not good. They help break down organic matter. Nematodes look cool too. When did the fever last play? She's not my girlfriend. They beat the Lynx. What's their record even? Does the WNBA have playoff games like the NBA? What does CX mean for the thing? Clinch playoff berth? Oh, they won Commissioner's Cup. So the Storm and Sparks must still be playing for the playoffs. They barely have the Fever are 24-20 though. Isn't Brittany Griner on the Atlantic Dream? Atlanta Dream. We'll see who wins. I don't know why you're saying that. She's been a great WNBA player. No, you can't do it. Put on her prison record. Russia drinks. I heard people in Russia smoke a lot of cigs and drink a bunch of vodka. I need to listen to your last podcast still. I need to listen to your last podcast still. The one with Compton traditional bull hunter. Is he from LA? I need to watch my hunting pack and clothes in this. No, so last night when I was out hunting, so I was on stand and there was like I didn't see anything till there was like 8 minutes of hunting left. And the doe came out on like the back side of me where I needed to like stand up to shoot at it. And it saw me and it was looking at me. I don't know if it scented me or just saw me moving, but it was just looking straight at me, so I didn't have a shot at it. And then another doe came out, which is probably its spawn behind it. And then that did get broadside, so I pulled back on it, but it was too dark to see the sight on my bow. Yeah, I think so, but I was sitting in my stand. I don't think that quickly. So I went and pulled back on it and I couldn't see it in the sight, and then it walked away. Yeah. Or I was taking a crap in the woods and then a buck walks out in front of me. I try to avoid peeing within like a couple hundred yards of the stand though. Urea is good stuff. They're supposedly making a sustainable urea plant that like can create anhydrous from wind power, and then they're taking CO2 from an ethanol plant and mixing it together by pier. With manure? Yeah, just liquid manure. Yeah, it's sap and microbes have worked on it forever. But most confinement animal operations now use liquid manure rather than solid manure because they can just collect a lot of it and then apply it, store it for longer. I don't know. I need to get a broadhead sharpener sometimes. Yeah, I know you don't like them. You like two fixed blades. Yeah, yeah. I know with compounds, just shooting the 1 inch fixed blades with crossbow shooting the 1 inch fixed blades is probably the best. No, not unless you're handicapped. I thought New York was going to allow crossbows during their archery season. None of it. New York trash talk is so horrible. No. I was gonna share that Angel Reese thing I sent to you. His acting was good in the first half, but horrible in the second half. Yeah. Let's get off this team.